I also wanted to say as well, when we had the first face-off in New York last time, I didn't want to take the limelight off Subril's night, for what he achieved, becoming a world champion. But I didn't want to take the limelight off him that night. That was his night. But January the 10th, that's where we fight, and I wish him nothing but the best, but a good camp. This day, I'm gonna.
Things to say. What would you like to say to Dalton? ¿Qué te gustaría decirle?
Thank you. The only I'm gonna say, this day, I'm gonna bring out the little girl he got inside him. So let's do it. I'm here.
Tony Also Knows Boxing. You're tuning into my channel. Subscribe to that channel. Tony Also Knows Boxing. I love the back and forth between both of them, and I feel that they're very cocky and arrogant, and it seems like they have their mind made up that they think they're gonna beat Subriel Matias, and maybe he's just convincing himself, giving himself confidence. Dalton Smith, that is. I believe that Dalton Smith hasn't fought anybody of note on the level of a Subriel Matias or Puello or Alberto Puello. Like, Alberto Puello is better than any fighter that Dalton Smith has ever fought. He's more elite, more boxing skills, and he's even more elite, way more elite than Dalton Smith, who has no experience and has never fought at the level that Alberto Puello's fought when he beat Gary Antoine Russell. He took away his undefeated record and he outboxed him, and he's a dog. And look what happened with Subriel Matias fought Alberto Puello. Subriel Matias proved that he can beat a boxer with skills, elite, like Alberto Puello. He made him fight his fight. And what do you see with Dalton Smith? What has he proven? He just proved that he has a great promoter that got him fights that are not even worthy of getting a fight with Subriel Matias, because before Subriel Matias beat Alberto Puello, no one knew who this guy even was, Dalton Smith. He just came out of left field, and they put him, like Eddie Hearns put him in the forefront of a rematch that could have been happening between Puello and Subriel Matias. But that's how boxing is who you promote, who promotes you. That's what makes you more connected, get better fights. If you have the right promoter, you'll get the right fights, and you'll get the right fights even though you're not as good as your record portrays, because the record could be very misleading. An undefeated record, a padded record of 18-0 with 13 KOs with Dalton Smith. But who has he beaten? Who has he fought? He hasn't fought anybody elite to put him in a position to fight against Subriel Matias or Alberto Puello. But he has the right promotion. He has Eddie Hearns Matchroom. But guess what? Eddie Hearns Matchroom, they lost against Fresh Production Boxing of Puerto Rico. The Puerto Rican promotion boxing, for the first time in history, a Puerto Rican boxing promotion brought boxing from Puerto Rico out of the States in the big leagues. That's something that has never been done. And this is the first time that has been done with Subriel Matias, Fresh Production Boxing of Puerto Rico. They beat Eddie Hearns of Matchroom. And Eddie Hearns is so butthurt because he has not been able to outbid the Puerto Rican company, Fresh Production Boxing, with Matchroom. He was unable to do it. It was futile. His attempt to outbid Fresh Production Boxing was very futile. And we surprised them. Puerto Rican boxing is in effect in the big leagues. Let me say hi to the people that are tuning into my channel. Giancarlos Peña, saludo. Thanks for tuning in. How you doing? Giancarlos Peña, tuning in. Subscribe to the channel. Tony Also Knows Boxing. You're tuning into my channel. Subscribe to that channel. I appreciate everybody coming into the channel. Yes, this was a live. This was actually a live press conference with Subriel Matias versus Dalton Smith, and Eddie Hearns has the nerve to say these ridiculous things that he says, because Eddie Hearns is really a fighter that is undermining Puerto Ricans as a whole, just because he had the leverage in the promotion when Subriel Matias fought Paddle, because that's the politics behind the boxing. The biggest boxing promotion can manipulate the decision, the judges. They can actually give the fight to the fighter that they want to look good and move up in their boxing promotion, like Eddie Hearns matchroom with Pato. That's the reason why they didn't allow Subriel Matias to get a win, because it's politics. They said they were going to give Subriel Matias his own pay-per-view if he would take a loss against Pato, and that's exactly what happened. The boxing politics behind the scene, and you can watch my previous video so you can see where Subriel Matias alluded to, like, when bigger boxing promotions actually use their politics to exploit Puerto Rican boxers and make them lose because they're not under the bigger promotion, they're under the smaller promotion. But now the tables have turned. They can't do the same thing. Eddie Hearns can't do the same thing that he's done in the past against Puerto Rican boxers and Puerto Rican promotion, because Juan Urango, who is the CEO and owner of Fresh Production Boxing of Puerto Rico, has brought Puerto Rican boxing out of Puerto Rico and brought it to New York City. This is the first time that a Puerto Rican boxing promotion has actually took boxing and boxers from Puerto Rico out of Puerto Rico and brought it to the bigger leagues in the United States. And they're making history. We're making history. Puerto Rico's making history. We're showing America and people that want to colonize Puerto Rico that we're not going to be colonized no more, that we're going to do things independently, and we're going to get out of the shadows of colonization and exploitation from people like the United States, countries like the United States, corporations like the United States and England, that are known to be that kind of a country. They have a history of colonization. I'm not saying nothing bad about the people of the country as a whole, because there's a lot of great people everywhere in every country. But I believe that the country of England in America has a long history of colonization against country in small islands and Virgin Islands and Latin America as a whole, and exploiting the fact that we have to be forced to be under the American foreign policy, and they force Latin America to actually do that, to follow whatever the United States decides. But now Puerto Rico is breaking out of the shadows of being controlled by corporations, countries that are bigger and have more influence. But now Puerto Rico is showing that we are actually a voice to be reckoned with, and a force to be reckoned with, because now we have boxing from Puerto Rico out of the States, and we're showing that we can actually control the narrative, and we're not going to let boxing promotions with more influence, supposedly like Eddie Hearns, to actually control the narrative and the event. Because when that happens, what happens is they exploit the fighter that's in the lower promotion, that doesn't have the same influence and doesn't control the financial terms and the whole narrative of the event. They don't allow the boxing promotion that's actually less known to actually dictate what happens behind the scenes with the judges, with who wins the fight. They can make deals behind the scenes where they can actually make the fighter that's with a lesser promoter take a loss, because they don't have the same influence, their promoters. So this is what happens a lot behind the scenes in boxing. But now they can't do that. They can't do that to Puerto Rican boxers and boxing promotion from Puerto Rico, because Juan Urango actually was able to dictate the terms and outbid Eddie Hearns of Matchroom. We're not going to be colonized no more. Puerto Rico's not going to be colonized by anyone that thinks that they're bigger than us. We're going to show the world, and we're going to show the colonizers that actually have tried to hold Puerto Rico back in every aspect. I don't want to get too political, but we're going to show the world that Puerto Rican boxing is alive and effect, and we're not going to be controlled by so-called bigger promotions, because Juan Urango has experience in music or reggaeton. He's been a promoter, and he knows the business very well, and he's showing everybody that he knows the boxing business as well too, because he was able to dictate the terms and make Subriel Matias fight under the terms of the Puerto Rican boxing promotion of Fresh Production Boxing, not Eddie Hearns Matchroom, because that's what happens when Eddie Hearns Matchroom are taking over the whole narrative and controlling the whole event. They actually exploit the fighter that has less influence and less power, and they make sure that the fighter that's under the bigger promotion, like supposedly like Eddie Hearns Matchroom, wins the fight. And even though the fight could be close, they'll give the fight to the fighter that's part of their big promotional company, like Eddie Hearns Matchroom. But in the case of Subriel Matias, what happened was they figured Subriel Matias has to make sure that he doesn't try to really win the fight. And you could tell when he fought Battle that it was all politics behind there. And there's videos to prove that Subriel Matias has said it and alluded to it if you watch my previous videos. But yes, and then now since Juan Urango, Fresh Production Boxing is control of the whole event, and Subriel Matias is getting paid more than this guy Dalton Smith, because he is the champion. But if it would have been the other way around, if he would have fought under Turkey Al-Sheikh with Eddie Hearns Matchroom winning the purse bid, the fight would have had a lot of politics behind it, where they actually make sure that Subriel Matias loses because he's not with the promotion of Eddie Hearns' fighter Dalton Smith. So that's what happened. So he's saying, Eddie Hearns, because a lot of the crowd in New York City, a lot of Puerto Ricans, and they're saying that they were actually going against Eddie Hearns. They didn't like him. They were booing him. And he said, oh, you guys don't like me? And then he said, I love the Puerto Rican people. I said, you know what I love about the Puerto Rican people? We've had 3 major fights against Puerto Ricans. Katie, number 1 with Amanda Serrano. Katie, number 2, and number 3. And no matter what, the Puerto Ricans, even when they lose, they're still happy. I love that about them. See, that's the colonizer statement that he made. He's making it like an assessment of this is what they like. You know, they like to be. Even if they lose, they still continue to be happy and be prideful, and they have that energy for in Puerto Rico in the boxing. But Puerto Rican people have that energy in boxing. But what he doesn't understand, or he knows, but you know he's not gonna say that whenever like Katie Taylor fought Amanda Serrano in those 3 fights. I'd say the first 2 fights, they robbed Amanda Serrano. And the reason why they were able to rob Amanda Serrano, because she was with MVP. And MVP is the one that controls the narrative and controls the event. And they're not going to give a fight to a Puerto Rican fighter, a fighter of color, against an Irish fighter like Katie Taylor, who definitely lost the first one and the second one. And there was politics involved with that. So that's the only way they could beat Puerto Ricans, the Irish. The Irish don't have the same pedigree that Puerto Rican boxers have. Nothing against the Irish, but I'm just calling it for what it is. Puerto Rican boxing, we have more world champions than Ireland ever had. The only way the Irish could beat Puerto Ricans is by using corrupt politics, promotion, and their influence to overshadow what the Puerto Ricans actually really accomplished, which was a victory that should have been given to Amanda Serrano in the first fight and the second fight against Katie Taylor. Katie Taylor lost those fights clearly. Amanda Serrano busted her up. And in the third fight, I think that she should not even change the strategy of the way she fought. Because of the first 2 fights, she did great and she won the fight. She should have not changed it just because they robbed her. But the reason why she changed the way she fought in the third fight and started boxing Katie Taylor is because she knew that she was going to lose the fight regardless. So that's what it is. Like either way, they were going to rob her. If she would have fought the way she fought in the first 2 fights, which was the best fight for her, the best strategy and the best way for Amanda Serrano to beat Katie Taylor, because if it's not broken, don't fix it. But she felt like, okay, they're going to rob me from the fight anyway, because she knew they were going to rob her of the fight, because MVP Promotion is not going to allow a Puerto Rican fighter to beat the Irish fighter, because you got to understand Eddie Hearns was involved there too. It's not MVP Promotions per se. I'm not going to say that, because MVP Promotions is doing good with Puerto Rican boxing, but we have other promotions that are doing great as well. But I feel like it's Eddie Hearns Matchroom's influence, because Katie Taylor is his fighter. And that's the reason why Katie Taylor was able to beat Amanda Serrano, because of the influence of Eddie Hearns Matchroom. They're not going to give the fight to a Puerto Rican. They're not going to give it to Amanda Serrano. That's just facts. So every time a boxing promotion that has more influence is involved in the boxing scenario where a Puerto Rican is fighting a fighter that has a promoter or promotion that has more influence, like Eddie Hearns, I think Eddie Hearns has more influence than MVP, because Eddie Hearns knows the boxing world more than Jake Paul. And Jake Paul should have actually made sure that they don't rob Amanda Serrano, but maybe he didn't have enough influence. And Eddie Hearns Matchroom had more influence because he's been around boxing longer than Jake Paul. So I think that's the reason why that happened. Subscribe to that channel. Tony Also Knows Boxing. You're tuning into my channel. Subscribe to that channel. Tony Also Knows Boxing. Yes, I believe that Subriel Matias is going to win this fight. And he looks like a winner. And he just, the way you look, the way his face looks, you can tell when somebody's gonna win and when somebody's gonna lose. He didn't change his hair yellow like he did with Liam Paro. Like he just changed the way he always approaches a fight when he fought Liam Paro. It's because back in the back of his mind, he knew the boxing politics was not going to allow for him to win because they already made a deal behind the scenes, Eddie Hearns' matchroom with Subriel Matias, to not win that fight with Paro. And he basically said he's going to give him his own pay-per-view, and then if he loses, if he loses against Liam Paro. So he had to lose against Liam Paro because the boxing promotion of Fresh Production Boxing wasn't at the level where they needed to be. And Subriel Matias was still like not as popular as he is now. But with the influence that Fresh Production has now and what he's acquired with his own pay-per-view, he actually built his stature. And now I think that there's not going to be any politics behind the scenes where Matchroom is going to have any influence, because we have Fresh Production Boxing in control of the whole event. And I think that really hurt that hurt Eddie Hearns' feelings, that a Puerto Rican boxing promotion beat his promotion, Matchroom. And we're making history. We're showing that we're not going to tolerate anybody exploiting us and suppressing us and keeping us down. We control the narrative. We control our events. And we're going to make sure that nobody robs Puerto Rican boxers ever again. No matter what influence you have, like Eddie Hearns' Matchroom, you're not going to have the same influence that you had with the Paro fight. Now, with this fight right here, with Eddie Hearns being involved, he's not going to be in control of of the whole event, and he can't play the politics behind the scenes, because Fresh Production Boxing is in control of what takes place, and there's not going to be no fishy stuff. Hopefully there's no fishy stuff now that we have the Puerto Rican boxing promotion in full control instead of Eddie Hearns' Matchroom. I said it. Tony also said it here first. Subscribe to the channel. Tony also knows boxing. I keep it real. I say the truth. So yes, I believe that Subriel Matias will win this fight. He has the look of a tiger, of a lion. Like he's ready to go to war. And I don't think that Dalton Smith is built for Subriel Matias. He has a great record, but I don't think he's fought anybody great. He hasn't fought any great opposition. He doesn't deserve to be in this position to fight Subriel Matias. The only reason why he's in this position is because Eddie Hearns of Matchroom got influence to get him the title fight. But he never expected this turnaround with a Puerto Rican boxing promotion like Fresh Production Boxing to beat and outbid Eddie Hearns' Matchroom. That's it. I said it. Tony also knows boxing. Subscribe to that channel. I said it first over here. You heard it first over here on Tony also knows boxing. I keep it real. I get frustrated with the way they treat Puerto Ricans. They act like Puerto Ricans can't do things on their own. Puerto Ricans could do things on their own. We got to stop depending on the United States doing things for us, or other countries like England doing things for Puerto Rico. We could do things on our own. And we proved it right now with this fight taking place in the Barclays Center, where a lot of Puerto Ricans live, in New York, in Brooklyn, and a Puerto Rican boxing promoter, Juan Urango, in control of the whole event, and the narrative and everything that takes place. It favors Subriel Matias as far as him being the champion, him fighting where there's more Puerto Ricans supporting Subriel Matias than anybody from England, because a lot of people that from England, they flew from England to support Dalton Smith, but they're not going to be able to get in the ring and fight for Dalton Smith. Subriel Matias is the one that's going to fight, and he has to fight, and Dalton Smith has to fight Subriel Matias. They're the ones that have to deal with the issues in the ring, not the promotion. Now it's all fair game. Subriel Matias is going to win this fight by knockout, by no mas tears. They're going to stop the fight. He's going to be too much for Dalton Smith. DJ Metronome 34. I don't know that language that you're speaking, but subscribe to the channel. Tony also knows boxing. You're tuning into my channel. Do not be afraid to subscribe to Tony also knows boxing. My channel is only for the brave. My channel is only for soldiers and people that want to inform themselves and want to always seek the truth and get knowledge on what's really happening and call things out for what they really are, not what some other content creators out there are doing. They're afraid to speak the truth. They don't want to speak the truth. They're afraid because they know that if they speak the truth, a lot of people are going to challenge them. But what's wrong with a challenge? If you get people to challenge you, you challenge them with the truth, and the truth is always going to prevail over any corruption or any deception or lies. That's facts. So speak the truth. Don't be afraid to be your best version of yourself. A lot of people are afraid to be the best versions of themselves. Do not be afraid to be the best version of yourself. All right, MJ Lucente, sup? Thanks for tuning into my channel. MJ Lucentes, I subscribe. Thanks for subscribing, MJ Lucente. I appreciate you for subscribing. A lot of people are brave. They want to subscribe. But the ones that they subscribe and then they unsubscribe is because they're not built for this. They're not built for the truth. They're not built for the knowledge that I'm bringing, the truth and the unadulterated empowerment for people that need to be empowered. I don't only talk about boxing, but it's mainly boxing. 95% boxing, and then it's also empowerment. Like, I give you empowerment. Like, if you're going through something in your life and you feel like you need some advice, I'll give you that advice over here if you need it. No problem. MJ Lucentes says, you're welcome. I appreciate you, my brother. I appreciate you. God bless you. And keep tuning into my channel. I have interviews with up-and-coming champions from Puerto Rico. Abisael Cotto, I recently interviewed him, and he's going to fight November 22nd against Felix Caraballo. Yep, it's going to be a good test for him. He's Abisael Cotto is 9-0 with 8 KOs, and he's going to look impressive on the undercard of Juanma Lopez versus Gallo the Producer on November 22nd. The same day that David Benavidez fights, Yarde, and the undercard is going to have Noakes versus, what's that? I like that guy. That's that prospect. It's going to be David Benavidez versus Yarde. It's also going to be Brian Norman Jr. versus Devin Haney. It's going to be two undefeated fighters. I forgot the name of the fighter, but the fighter that's fighting Noakes is my favorite fighter. The one that's fighting Noakes. Somebody give me the name if you remember. I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. MJ Lucente says, are you live tomorrow? I mean, it all depends. I like to go live when I have a lot of good information on something, and I don't like to just give you content just to give it to you. I try to give you the best quality of content, very informative. And yeah, you never know. I might go live tomorrow, but sometimes I take a break. But I appreciate you asking, MJ Lucente. Thanks for subscribing to my channel. I appreciate you, my brother. And yes, who do you have winning? Subriel Matias versus Dalton Smith. Who do you have winning? And where are you tuning in from, MJ Lucente? Where are you tuning in from, my brother? Let me know. I like to know who my fans who tune into my channel live at, what town they're from, what city they're from, what city you represent, where you're from, my brother. Let me know. Subscribe to that channel. Tony also knows boxing. You're tuning into my channel. My channel is growing. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before the year's over. MJ Lucente, I need to go by. I need to go by. Are you leaving? All right, if you got to leave, my brother, I understand if you got things to do, but I appreciate you subscribing to my channel, and stay tuned for more videos from me. And I might go live tomorrow, but I try to go live consistently as much as I can, every other 3 days or every 4 days, something like that, or every 2 days. It all depends, But yes, that was the press conference with Subriel Matias versus Dalton Smith, and Subriel Matias did say when they asked him in the interview, like if he's gonna if he's still planning to fight Devin Haney, should he beat Brian Norman? He says he's not gonna make a prediction for the fight with Brian Norman versus Devin Haney, but he did make a prediction. He said that Brian Norman is a complete fighter, that he has skills, he has pedigree, and he has solid power, and he said that Devin Haney's a chicken. So he just runs. All he does is run. So he basically said that he's gonna run. That Devin Haney's just gonna run. He's not built for that. Basically he was trying to say that by saying those comments. But yeah, but Subriel Matias did say that they asked him if he's gonna fight. That he has unfinished business in the 140-pound weight class, and if he's who does he plan to fight? Does he still plan to fight Devin Haney? And he said he's focused on the task at hand, Dalton Smith. He's not thinking about anybody else. But he did say that that in the future will be a good fight, but with him and Mario Barrios, as they're trying to create like a Mexico versus Puerto Rico rivalry again. I just think it's a good fight, but Subriel Matias is gonna beat him. Subriel Matias is gonna beat him. We know that, but it's a good fight to get more champions under his resume, which he already has. Alberto Puello, and I just say that that Eddie Hearns is always gonna say that Dalton Smith is he's gonna win, and he said stuff like that he's gonna win by knockout, that he believes it's gonna be a great fight, but he believes that Dalton Smith is gonna knock out Subriel Matias. Man, he's insane. He's crazy. He's on crack. He's gonna say that because that's his fighter. But he's undermining Puerto Ricans, Subriel Matias, and he has to remember he's no longer has control over this event. He don't have control over this event. The event between Subriel Matias and Dalton Smith in Barclays Center, Brooklyn, he has no control over that fight. Fresh Production Boxing, Juan Urango has control of that fight, a Puerto Rican boxing promoter. So remember that. The politics, he can't use that same influence like he did before, because now it's Juan Urango who is going to make sure that Eddie Hearns doesn't use his influence to make Subriel Matias lose or make him lose because he wants his fighter to look good and he wants his fighters to rise up in the ranks. No, I don't think that's going to happen. I hope it doesn't happen. What do you guys think? Do you think that now that Fresh Production Boxing Puerto Rico is in control of this event, that there's not going to be any shady stuff from Eddie Hearns' Matchroom? Eddie Hearns' Matchroom can't play that game with us no more because Puerto Rican boxing is in the big leagues now, and we're actually proving that we're a force to be reckoned with. And by us, Puerto Ricans, Fresh Production Boxing outbidding Matchroom, it says a lot about our future in the boxing world, and in the big leagues. Puerto Rican boxing is going to be even bigger, and a lot of great things are happening. Xander Zayas is going to fight unification fight with Abis Barral, July 31st, and Teofimo Lopez is going to fight not July 31st. What am I talking about? Xander Zayas is going to fight Abis Barral January 31st of 2026, and Subriel Matias is going to fight January 10th of 2026 against Dalton Smith. I predict that Subriel Matias is going to stop him in 6 rounds, 6 or 7 rounds. My God, brother was a sick Puerto Rican fighter. Matty Garcia 4293. Thanks for tuning into the channel. Subscribe to that channel. Thanks for tuning in, my brother. Matty Garcia 4293 says, my God, brother was a sick Puerto Rican fighter. All right, man. What's his name? Let me know his name. Yes, so Subriel Matias is going to fight Dalton Smith January 10th, 2026 in Barclays Center. And I think he's going to win by 6-round KO stop or 7th-round no Matias. That's what he's going to do. And January 31st, on the same date that Xander Zayas fights Abis Barral, Teofimo Lopez is going to fight Shakur Stevenson. I think Shakur Stevenson is going to school him. I said it. Subscribe to Tony Also Knows Boxing. You're tuning into my channel, Tony Also Knows Boxing. I said it. So this guy, Shakur Stevenson, he's one of my favorites, and he is a boxing technician, and he's gonna school Teofimo Lopez. And what's his name? What's his name? The one that tuned into my channel, Low Nose Boxing. Low Nose Boxing. I'm giving you a shout out. I respect when you come into my channel, but I'm gonna let you know that I respectfully disagree with you. I think that it doesn't matter a focused Teofimo Lopez or unfocused Teofimo Lopez. He is not on the level of Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson is gonna make sure that he looks real good in this fight against Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez is not totally mentally there, and I believe that he's not the same fighter that beat Lomachenko, and Lomachenko is not on the same level as Shakur Stevenson. Let's just get that right there. Let's just put that in the forefront right now. Tony Also Knows Boxing. You're tuning into my channel. Subscribe to that channel. Matty Garcia 4293 says Matthew Villanueva, super flyweight. I heard of him, and I'm gonna look him up. Now that you mention him, Matty Garcia 4293. I respect you, my brother, for letting me know that information. That name sounds so familiar. Matthew Villanueva, super flyweight. That's your guy, brother? Yeah, I'm gonna look him up. I know I seen him before. I know, because that name sounds very familiar. Mad familiar. So yeah, thanks for giving me that information, Matty Garcia. I didn't know that Matthew Villanueva, super flyweight, is your guy, brother. Matty Garcia 4293 tuning in. Yes. Where you from? What city you from, my brother? What city you from? Thanks for tuning into the channel. I appreciate you tuning in. Subscribe to that channel. Tony also knows boxing. I got Subriel Matias winning by 6th or 7th. No mas tias. I got him winning in those rounds. What do you guys think in the comments? Be honest. Give me your predictions on the Subriel Matias versus Dalton Smith. Who do you think is going to win? In what round? Just give me all your feedback. Whether you think he's going to win or you think he's not going to win. Whether you're going for Dalton Smith or whether you're going for Subriel Matias. Let me know in the comments who you think is going to win. I already gave you my prediction for Subriel Matias. And Shakur Stevenson, I give my prediction against Teofimo Lopez. I think Teofimo Lopez is probably going to get dropped in that fight. I said it. He'll probably get dropped in that fight. But I think that Teofimo Lopez has some guts. He'll still be able to stay in the fight. I think Shakur Stevenson wins by possibly unanimous decision. I said it. Tony also knows boxing. I said it. Maybe in the first 4 or 5 rounds, Teofimo Lopez gives him a run for his money, but I don't think he's on the level of Shakur Stevenson. So that goes to you, Low Nose Boxing. That goes to you. I said that to you. I want to see what you think about what I just said. You have the right to have your own opinion, Low Nose Boxing. But Tony also knows boxing. I got the real facts coming over here, and I don't get blinded by being a fan. You know? Let me say, Matty Garcia, 42.93. He don't fight no more. He fought out of Palmdale and Goose and Tudor. All right. I'm going to check him out. I'm going to look him up, my brother. I'm glad you brought that up, but I know the name. It sounds familiar. Did he fight? In what era did he fight? In what era? Let me know in what era he fought so I can look it up and find out about him and check out some of his fights, man, because I love to watch fights and study the fighters, you know. But yeah, so I got Teofimo Lopez losing by unanimous decision against Shakur Stevenson. Yes, I said it. Tony also knows boxing. You're tuning into my channel. Subscribe to that channel. And last but not least, not last but not least, I'm going to give other prediction. Xander Zayas versus Abis Barao. I got Xander Zayas in a very competitive fight against Abis Barao, who gave Tellus all he could handle, even knocked him down in the last rounds, and he beat an undefeated Cuban prospect, Tellus. So I think Xander Zayas is going to have a tough fight in the very beginning. I say the first 5 rounds, and then I think after the 6th and 7th round, he's going to figure out how to dominate and outbox Abis Barao and possibly stop him. Possibly. It's possible. A lot of people undermine and sleep on Xander Zayas. Xander Zayas has the goods. He just has to go for the kill, and that comes with experience. And I think he looked beautiful in his last fight with Jorge Garcia, winning the championship, the WBO and the junior middleweight championship. And I believe that Xander Zayas will beat Virgil Ortiz if they ever fought. I said it. Tony also knows boxing. Yes, I said it. I think Xander Zayas could beat Virgil Ortiz. I think he has more boxing ability. He's more advanced, and I think he will win. It's not only power in boxing. And I think he has some power too. Not one-punch power, Xander Zayas. He has more like speed and boxing skills and punches that you don't see. I think he has the whole pedigree, the whole package, Xander Zayas. And he just needs to go for the kill more. And I would say between Virgil Ortiz and Jerome Boots Ennis, I think Jerome Boots Ennis is he's the one in that weight class. Right now, Jerome Boots Ennis he will knock out Virgil Ortiz in a competitive fight. Because styles make fights, you know. I think Virgil Ortiz will give him a tough outing. I think he'll give Jerome Boots Ennis a tough outing, maybe like from 1 to 5 rounds. But after the 5th round, the 6th, 7th round, I do believe Jerome Boots Ennis is going to figure him out to the point where he could actually stop him or knock him out. Because let's not forget, Bohachuk was able to knock down Virgil Ortiz 2 times. And Virgil Ortiz escaped with the victory. They robbed Bohachuk of the victory. That's what I think. Matty Garcia, 42.93. Yeah, Teofimo losing for sure. Shakur's too nice. Facts. What city you tuning in from? Let me know before I bounce, before I leave from the channel, because I gotta go and take care of some things. But I appreciate everybody tuning in to Tony Also Knows Boxing. You're tuning into my channel. Subscribe to that channel. Tony Also Knows Boxing. Phoenix, Matty Garcia 4293 says he's from Phoenix. Shout out to all my people from Phoenix. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. Boricua, shout out to my Mexicans, my African Americans, my Filipinos, my everybody, my English people, everybody, and my Boricua people. Yes, shout out to everybody in Phoenix, showing love to Tony Also Knows Boxing. I appreciate you showing love. And check out my interviews with the boxers that I have on my channel. I did like 8 interviews already with the up-and-coming boxing prospects from Puerto Rico who are going to be champions. And these fighters, they are like family to me. They want to give me that royal treatment when I go to Puerto Rico. They want to give me that red carpet because they're humble and they're built for this life. They're built for this kind of life. Yeah. So I want to shout out Matty Garcia 4293. Thanks for tuning into the channel. And all my people in Phoenix, I got nothing but love for y'all. And tune into Tony Also Knows Boxing. Subscribe to the channel. Tony Also Knows Boxing. I appreciate everybody showing the love and coming into the channel today. Yes, that's my verdict. Those are my predictions. What about Lamont? Let me make a couple of more predictions. Lamont Roach versus Pitbull Cruz. Who do you think is gonna win? I think Lamont Roach is gonna be too much for Pitbull Cruz. Pitbull Cruz is he's a great brawler. You know, he did look great against Tank Davis, but I don't think he's the same Pitbull Cruz as before. But I still believe that Lamont Roach, with his boxing skills, he's just gonna be too much for Pitbull Cruz. And I believe the 130 weight division doesn't really have a face anymore. They have Oshiki Foster, who's fighting on the undercard of Pitbull Cruz versus Lamont Roach against Stephen Fulton, who's moving up in weight, a 3rd weight class, to get I think a 3rd belt at 130. He's not from that weight class, and he's a solid fighter. He has more experience than Oshiki Foster. He's fought better fighters. He lost by knockout to Inouye. And, you know, there's not really a dominant fighter at 130. But who do you guys have winning between Oshiki Foster and versus Stephen Fulton? Let me know in the comments who you think is going to win. I really don't know, man, because like there's not really a face, and I'm not really too familiar. I know he beat a couple of Mexican fighters, Oshiki Foster, that were undefeated. And he really surprised me. I forgot the name of the fighter, but he actually surprised me with those victories because they were undefeated fighters, and he won. And Stephen Fulton is moving up to his weight class. So that weight class, 130 pounds, is going to be Oshiki Foster's WBC for his WBC belt at the 130 weight class. And Abisael Cotto, who I interviewed from Puerto Rico, he is 9-0 with 8 KOs. I think he's going to take over that division. I think Abisael Cotto from Puerto Rico, watch his fights on YouTube. I interviewed him a few days ago. I got like 3 interviews with him. I think he's the future of the 130 weight class division. I think he will give Oshiki Foster and Stephen Fulton problems. And that weight class does have Navarrete, who he's one of my favorite fighters. I actually thought he beat that Ukrainian boxer that they robbed the fight from him when he fought him. And I think that that weight class is interesting, but it doesn't really have a dominant face. I think we got Pitufo Diaz, who fought there. He's lost some close decisions, and he still has a lot of fight left in him. But that weight class is very interesting, but there's not really a dominant face right now. Oshiki Foster and Stephen Fulton are fighting for the top spot because they're the most talked now, and I think Navarrete is going to have a fight as well. I got to look and see what fight he's going to have, but he's fighting soon too, and he's one of my favorites. And I think Abisael Cotto is going to take over that division, 130-pound weight class. So watch Abisael Cotto fight November 22nd in the undercard of Juanma Lopez versus Gallo the Producer. Yes, Abisael Cotto. Check him out. He's 9-0 with 8 KOs. He's a very powerful fighter with skills. He throws the jab. He's tall. He's actually 5'9". He has a long reach. He has power, one-punch power, and he has boxing skills and ability. He got the whole package. Tony Also Knows Boxing. You're tuning into my channel. Subscribe to that channel. Matty Garcia 4293 says, you think Haney gonna get knocked out? Yes, he is. 100% sure. I say that without hesitation. Devin Haney has no chin. They should change his name to Devin No Chin Haney, because he's gonna get knocked out. Trust me. If Ryan Garcia with steroids was able to knock out Devin Haney, you think that Brian Norman Jr. doesn't hit harder than Ryan Garcia on steroids? Then you're insane. You haven't paid attention to what Brian Norman does in his fights, and he has boxing skills too, and he has power. So yes, I think that Brian Norman Jr. is gonna knock out Devin No Chin Haney. I said it. That's his new name, Devin No Chin Haney, or Devin. Let me see, post-traumatic stress disorder Haney, because that's what he looked like when he fought in his last fight. His last fight, he looked like he has post-traumatic stress disorder. He was running, and every time they tried to hit him with one shot, he just kept running. He didn't even try to fight like he did with Progress. So right there, I'm going to give him two names. Devin, post-traumatic stress disorder Haney, or Devin No Chin Haney. Which one you think fits better for Devin Haney? Tony also knows boxing. Subscribe to that channel. I said it over here. I speak the truth, and I don't care who gets offended. I don't care if Devin Haney's father gets offended. I'm speaking the facts. He has post-traumatic stress disorder in boxing. He has it. Because the way he looked in his last fight, he looks like he has post-traumatic stress disorder. He can't handle not even a freaking pinky. If I hit him with a pinky in his head, he'll start running because he starts getting flashbacks when he got knocked out by Ryan Steroid Garcia. I'm going to call him Ryan Steroid Garcia. Danny No Heart Haney. Matty Garcia, 4293. Danny No Heart Haney. I like that. I like that, my brother. That was funny, man. My brother, Matty Garcia, 4293 from Phoenix, man. Much love to you. Thanks for tuning into the channel. Subscribe to the channel. I had to make you guys laugh a little bit. You know, every now and then I like to say little funny things here and there just to make you guys laugh and get intrigued, because I don't like my videos to be boring. Because there's a lot of content creators out there. They got boring videos, man. You got to step it up a little, man. Be charismatic. Tony also knows boxing. You're tuning into my channel. Subscribe to the channel. One love. Peace. I love all of you. Yeah, those are my predictions. Devin, before I leave, Matty Garcia, I got Devin Haney getting knocked out in any round by Brian Norman Jr. Any round. But I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to say in 6 rounds. I'm going to be nice to Devin Haney. I'll give him 6 rounds. I'll see if his chin can hold up for 6 rounds. He might get knocked out in the first round. Brian Norman Jr. is the truth. Remember that. I said it here first. I'm Tony Also Knows Boxing. Subscribe to that channel. You know me. I ain't going to hold back. I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't care if it offends his mother. I'm going to say it. It is what it is. If you got into the sport and there's something wrong and then you're not really being able to take the shots, I'm going to say that you got no chin. And if I see you have post-traumatic stress disorder, I'm going to say you have post-traumatic stress disorder. So I think his name should be Devin Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder Haney, or Devin No Chin Haney, or it could be Danny No Heart Haney, like Matty Garcia 4293 says on my channel. Much love to you. Appreciate the comment, man. You made it interesting, my brother. You're part of the family, Matty Garcia 4293. Subscribe to that channel if you're not afraid. If you're afraid, just get out of my channel. Go somewhere else where all those fake content creators are. But you go to the real content creators right here. You know what I mean? You just got to work hard. Work hard and you will go far. God is good. God is good. You know, if I said anything wrong, you know, God forgive me, but I'm just speaking from the facts. I'm speaking from my heart. This is what I see. What, you want me to just keep it boring and say, oh, I don't want to say what I really feel about Devin Haney. Oh, I just got to hold it back. I got to be respectful of my channel. No, I'm going to say, I'm going to be disrespectful respectfully. I'll be disrespectful respectfully. It's because I'm speaking the truth. When you're speaking the truth, you're disrespectful respectfully. Because you're speaking the truth. There's no other way to cut an orange. I can cut the orange like this. I cut it like that. But when you speak the truth, you're gonna scar some people. But you don't mean to. It's just you want to liberate them so they can realize what they need to work on, or if they need to stay in boxing, or if they don't. Tony Also Knows Boxing. Subscribe to that channel. Peace. One love to everybody that tuned in. Yes, Subriel Matias is gonna knock out Dalton Smith. I said it. Subscribe to my